And welcome back to Music Free Static. Hope you're having a fabulous day. And it happens to everybody. You don't want to admit it, but there comes a time in your life when you're doing something and you just need to stop. Okay? And you all know these situations, right? Sometimes it's just the light is red and you need to stop. Now, and honestly, no, there are lots of things that come up in our lives, things that we're doing that we look at and realize, I need to either stop doing this completely or I need to take a break and come back to it. And I know I've talked about this a little bit in a previous episode, but this has been on my mind a lot lately for a number of reasons. One, I'm having to make some serious dietary changes in my life because of gout primarily. I was making some changes because of slightly creeping up cholesterol levels, slightly creasing up blood pressure issues. Nothing serious. I wasn't into dangerous territory. Just things were creeping up a little bit. And says, all right, let me start cutting back on different things. Well, and then I had this gout flare up a month or so back, and I couldn't walk. I mean, it hurt so bad I couldn't sleep. It was horrific. And as I talked to my doctor and started doing some other research, realized I need to stop eating most meat. Okay? I mean, chicken's okay. There's only so much chicken a person can eat, but, that's fine. So I have to cut ground beef and most beef out of my diet, which I was reducing anyway for the aforementioned heart reasons. But I can't even replace it with turkey. Right? Because ground turkey is amazing, especially as a filler for, or a replacement, I guess, for ground beef in anything, right? Chilies or casseroles or, whatever you want to do. But turkey is on the do not eat list for gout, right? So I'm having to reevaluate my life choices, my dietary choices, and basically stop eating most meats. Okay. Lovely. Right, so that's definitely that example of, hey, this is bad for me. I need to stop doing this. Okay. There are other things that you can look at that it's like, okay, this is a waste of time. I could be making some better choices, right? This is your typical, well, I could spend 3 hours every night watching TV, or I could get up and do something else. And that something else, maybe the better choice is not scrolling your phone or something like that, right? These are the types of things the same type of choices you end up making for yourself. It's like, there are better options. This is not really a good option here, right? It's not necessarily a bad option, right? It's one thing to sit there and say, okay, I've been doom scrolling my phone. Let's stop that. Okay, that's probably a good idea. But then if you just go, I'm going to sit and watch documentaries all day. Okay, and documentaries are good. Learning is awesome. Big fan. Is that still the best choice you could be making? Well, it's a better choice. And that's something, I guess, right? But you start looking at those types of things and it's like, all right, what am I doing here? I realized I'm wasting my life away doing a thing. I really need to make a better choice, right? Those types of questions come up fairly regularly. But not everything that you want to stop doing is bad. Okay? And this is what's been really on my mind lately. And I'm going to pull up a couple of examples specifically from my content creation life because obviously this is what I think about, right? I think about my own life. Shocks. Sorry, I don't think about your life as often as you might hope, okay? It just doesn't happen. But as I'm looking back at things, I realize that there's some things that I need to stop or take a break from and then come back to. Or just, again, stop doing. I said this isn't bad. So I want to start with the idea that sometimes you're doing something that's great and you really enjoy it, but you kind of just feel like you're going through the motions, right? It's normal, okay? Something just gets routine, and especially if it's something that requires some sort of creative thought to it, where the creativity just doesn't come. All right, that's normal. And that's honestly where I'm at with this podcast. Now, I love doing the podcast. I love having a place to sit and just talk about things and not worry about gaming, not worry about anything else. I just want to do the thing. Okay. But there's a reality here that I've sort of been not exactly running out of ideas, but none of the ideas I've had I want to actually talk about. And I've had a little bit of a fallback of just doing movie reviews. Now, I've done them in the past because I just really wanted to talk about this movie, okay? It's like the Care Bears movie. I did a really late movie review of the Care Bears movie because I've been talking about this movie off and on stream for years. And finally said, all right, you know what? I need to sit down and do a really late movie review about it because I just want to spend some time talking about the movie, okay? And it's happened with a few other movies. New movies have, not necessarily if they've just come out and they're new. I never see movies when they're new. That's just why so many of my movie reviews are really late. Not to mention that some of those reviews are just movies that are really old, okay? Because I talked about The Love Bug the other day. Partly because I watched it to help cheer me up. And I was like, yeah, I need to share this out with people, okay? That happens a fair amount. But then there are days it's like, I'm not feeling it, y'all. I'm not feeling a topic. I'm not feeling anything. Well, I kind of want to watch this movie. I haven't done a review of it. So let's just, and that becomes the topic for that next week. And, that's fine. It works. I mean, I like doing it, but it doesn't feel good, okay, in some ways, right? This is one of those topics that it's just been on my mind a lot. And so, yes, I really want to talk about it. But those who's like, I don't know. I have to talk about something because I've got to record the podcast tomorrow morning. What do I talk about? Right. I definitely have that a lot and more often recently. So I've been wondering, do I need to take a break? Okay. The other side of it is I'm not entirely sure where I want the podcast to go. Okay. I talked about it, I think, in a supporter newsletter over at Music Free Gaming, but the idea or the question was, do I maybe throw out all of the stuff like this particular topic and just do media, like movie reviews, book reviews, music, that type of thing? It's definitely a possibility. On the other hand, I've been doing episodes about once a month with my wife, and those have been amazing. I've loved doing those. And a lot of those that we're talking about Star Trek and things like that. But there are a couple of topics that we've got on the list that I think would be really good to talk about with her on a podcast that are not media related at all. Okay. I mean, one, we talked about, being married for 30 years. Okay. I think that was a great podcast. Just be able to sit down and talk about, hey, long-term relationships are cool, but they're hard. And how did we make it work? Okay. So there's some things I really need to sort out, and I just don't know what I'm doing with it. So here's the deal, at least for this podcast, it's not ending. Okay. So for those of you who are worried or perhaps rejoicing that the podcast might be stopping, it's not. I am going to take a break. So we're going to go a couple of weeks where there are no episodes. But don't worry. The podcast is coming back. It'll be there. We'll start a season 2 or something, and we'll go. But I need to sit down, and I really need to spend some time thinking about what I want to do with this podcast. And what I want to do, and what I might do, is just, basically I would be doing the same thing. I just need to take a break and come back at it refreshed, because this is episode 167. That's 167 weeks of podcasts, right? That is a long time. That's over 2 years, right? Of It's over 3 years, I think, or almost 3 years of consistently doing a podcast every week, which is fabulous. But as a solo thing, I need a break. Okay. And again, it's not that the podcast is bad, and it's not all that. It's like I need to reorient, and I can't do that. At least in my mind, while I'm still on that drive for the podcast. The other reason you may want to stop something, certainly the reason why I'm looking at stopping something else here, is that it's no longer worth the effort, right? You hear the phrase, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Basically, you're putting in so much work and getting so little benefit from it that it's just not worth the effort to keep going, okay? That's where I'm at with the Skyblock series I'm doing over at Music Free Gaming. It was a great idea. I've had a lot of fun doing it. I'm still having fun doing it. But there's a reality here as far as it goes for content, all right? It's one thing, so I'm just going to sit down and I'm going to play Skyblock with Create Mod. Awesome. Fabulous. That's a wonderful idea. I recommend it. It's great. You have to solve some interesting problems when you do that. But for content creation, each video is a fairly significant time commitment. And I just have not had the time to commit. And when I have had it, okay, I work on the videos and stuff, but it is hours and hours of work to put those videos together. Some of it is, yes, playing Minecraft, okay, and I love that. But I can't just play Minecraft. I have to play Minecraft with the thought in mind that I'm making a video here. And how do I take what I'm doing in game and turn it into a video? The answer to that is badly. But there is definitely moments where, I've been working on a thing where video, I need to be adding some commentary. I need to be bringing viewers along with the story, that type of thing. And it's just not happening. Okay. But here's the deal. I can handle doing all of that if it was actually worth the effort to do it. And here's the thing. I look at the views that I was getting on those videos, and they're okay. For me, I mean, they're actually really bad. The reality is they're really bad. But as far as videos that I've put out, most of them have done pretty okay, but it's a fairly consistent descent. The first couple of episodes were relatively good. Again, for me, 150 views is horrible. Let's be real. But for me, it's not bad. It's better than a lot of my videos did when I was doing Let's Plays and stuff like that. But it just has been decreasing over time. And the last video that went out got almost nothing. I mean, literally, it was like 10 or 11 views. Okay. It was bad. For videos that take hours and hours to produce, and then hours to go through the editing and all of that process, it's a lot of work for almost nothing, right? As far as output from a content creator standpoint. Do I like recording the video? Sure. Do I like playing the game? Absolutely. But for the views that I'm getting, for the ad revenue I'm getting, for all of the stuff that I get from it, right? Again, from a content creation standpoint, I would probably be better off streaming. I mean, it's just the reality of the numbers, okay? Yeah, I've been looking at that series and realized it's just not working out, at least for the moment. I've got some videos batched, so those will come out. And I've got 2 or 3 others. One, I need to finish editing. Hopefully I'll get that done today as I'm recording this. I've got one more I absolutely want to do. And then what? Okay. I'll finish that episode, which I would be episode 10 for those keeping score. And depending on where it's at where the world is at after I finish that. I might do one more, but I might end it with episode 10. And honestly, I even if I do one more, it's going to be one more. Okay, I don't think it's going to be another 20. Right? It's just the juice isn't worth the squeeze. It's no longer worth the effort. And as much as I like to do it, and I mean, from a content perspective, yes, I should have videos in addition to streams and shorts and stuff. But I just don't, I'm just not seeing the benefit. I think part of the problem is just the YouTube ecosystem in general. And I don't want to blame YouTube for this. It's just a viewer's tastes issue. And I've talked about this, I know, in the past about Let's Plays and things, but it's sort of a dead market, okay? Yeah, it works for a few select people, and there are certainly some Minecraft people that it works for the most part, like the Hermitcraft community, for example. But their series, it's a little more project focused. Plus, they've got a lot of fun with interactions with the other cast members on the server, things like that. But for a single person playing a game, watch me play the game, that has gone away from a video perspective for the most part, and has shifted over to streaming, which is fine. I actually prefer streaming to making videos. So, you know, that's honestly, that's kind of where I'd rather be spending that time. And that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to be streaming more, okay? Because I do have other things I need to do with the time. I've had to put so much time into making the videos that I have some things I need to be doing on the back end. Right? I've got some technical things that I need to be sorting out. I've got some other things I need to be doing that I just haven't been able to do because I've been focusing on trying to get videos done. And I've had weeks where life happens and I just can't work on a video at all. And then I start to feel bad. I'm stressing over the fact that, hey, I can't get this video out and I want to get it out. I was really lucky. I had a week off and I was able to knock out 3 episodes for Skyblock and really get ahead of the game a little bit. I was hoping to be able to do at least 1 or 2 episodes a month ago because I had another week off of work around the time of my anniversary. But that's when I had the gout flare up in my foot, and that week I was in so much pain I couldn't do it. I just could not focus on anything. Yes, I recorded a little bit. I think I finished an episode, maybe started on another one a little bit, but it just, I just couldn't get anywhere. And I said, I've had a couple of times this last week or so where I just got nothing done. And it's stressful, and I don't need that stress in my life. You know, I've got enough stress in my life that I really need to be lowering that. And again, if the videos were going gangbusters, it's like I'm seeing a lot of success with it, I could deal with that stress a little bit. I could understand, yes, all right, it's worth the effort. But there comes a point when you realize whatever you're working on, it's just no longer worth the effort anymore. And that's where I'm at with Skyblock. It's just not worth the effort. And you know, there are lots of things that we end up doing in our lives that are like that. Now, there are some things we don't necessarily see the results for right away, because there are some that are long-term. Okay, exercise, dieting, right? Those types of things. Okay, I say dieting. Dieting is a horrible approach, okay? You don't diet because you always stop. Sorry for the tangent, but I have to talk about this. We're talking about stopping things. Diets are horrible because you go on a diet, right? You go on a diet. We'll throw the air quotes on there because it's just one of those things. It's like, all right, I am on a diet. I'm going to stop doing this. And then, because the mindset is you're at some point going to stop being on the diet. But I'm going to lose this weight and now I'm off the diet. That's not how food works, y'all. Sorry. I mean, it's one thing to say, all right, I need to drop a couple of pounds. Let's go through a cut stage where we cut calorie intake for a couple of weeks so I can drop those 2 pounds so I can fit a little bit better into my jeans. Okay, that's one thing. Okay, that's just I'm doing fine normally. I just need to drop a couple of pounds. Okay, that's typically all you're going to get. It's when you have to start making lifestyle changes, really, that dieting is not going to be the way to go. If you're like me, when I started reworking my health stuff, I was at basically 270 pounds. I've dropped 40 pounds since then. I have another 40 to go, really, 45 to go. But I sort of plateaued. All right, but that doesn't mean I should stop, right? I'm making these dietary lifestyle changes. Well, I haven't dropped any more weight. I guess I could just stop that and we'll go. No, it means it's time to reevaluate and maybe make better choices or some other things, okay? The idea is, hey, if we're going to stop something, let's stop it. But anyway, I went off on a tangent, forgot where I was, but the reality is there are definitely times when you need to stop doing things. And there have been a few of those cases. Just, again, we're just talking about stopping things that aren't necessarily bad. They're just not working for you anymore. Right? There are a number of podcasts. I like to listen to podcasts when I walk to work. And there are just a couple of podcasts that I liked, but ultimately there was something about them that it's like, no, you know what? I need to stop listening to this podcast, right? There's one, I think I'm officially still subbed to it, but I haven't listened to it in probably 3 months, even though it's a weekly podcast. And that's Comic Book Nation. Okay. Now, I liked Comic Book Nation because it covered everything. Their tagline, doing it all for geek culture. And they talked about movies, they talk about comic books, they talk about TV, they talk about wrestling, which I care nothing about, but they cover all of this stuff. But that crew was getting increasingly negative. And I needed less negativity in my life. So I stopped that. The same with the Force Center podcast. The Force Center was an excellent podcast about Star Wars. Fabulous podcast. Or it was for me until they started digressing from Star Wars and started talking about politics. And at that point, I don't care, right? I still follow politics and stuff. I like political things, but when I want to talk about Star Wars, I don't want to talk about real world politics, right? And yes, we can go deep into Star Wars and politics, but the reality is it was not doing good things for my mental health, no matter how much I liked their takes on Star Wars in particular. So I stopped, right? I said, that's just one of those things that sometimes things you're doing, they're not necessarily bad, but they might be bad for you. And then there are some things that are just, yeah, maybe you shouldn't be eating an entire box of donuts every day, right? That's probably bad for you just objectively, right? So yeah, as I look at this, really, the idea that you're looking at some things that you're doing in your life that are good, but you should stop them. Or at least take a break. And that's where I'm at with a couple of things. And I thought it would be good to talk about, one, for the audience, and two, because if I'm going to be cutting back on the podcast, I should probably let you all know that that's going to be a thing, rather than just, oh, we're stopping. Well, why? I haven't seen the podcast in 3 weeks. Are you okay? I'm okay. Taking a break. Okay. It's fine. It's totally fine. But the other reason I'm thinking of stopping is I'm also thinking about starting something else, right? And sometimes, especially when I'm looking at Skyblock that takes so much time and I'm not getting a lot of benefit from it, I had an idea for something that I want to do that will take less time, but I think will be really cool. So I'm going to shift some things, some priorities, and Skyblock is gone. Right? I said I've got to finish editing a video, and so I think there's one more probably that I want to do, but that's where it's at, and I think I'm in a good space with that. I really do, and it's one of those things you start looking at. But I really liked that. But you know what? I'm really good stopping that. So that's where it is. Hopefully y'all understand. If both of you that watch the Skyblock videos or the couple of you that still listen to the podcast, I appreciate all of you. But yeah, I'm having to make some changes, and that's where we're going. But don't worry, podcast will be coming back. I enjoy it too much. I just need to be sure I'm mentally in a good space for it, and that I know what I want it to be and where it's going. So that's where that is. Please feel free, if you have feedback or other things, just want to share things that, yeah, I needed to stop this for whatever reason. Drop them in the comments. Like, subscribe, follow, whatever it is you like to do. And until next time, be excellent to each other. And this is Music Free Static signing off.